Hi, in this video I'm going to give you a very brief introduction about fundamental of creating object and some advanced object concepts. So we are going to use this keyword and we are going to convey privacy in JavaScript, and we are defining getter as setter in the object. We are creating factory function and we are using destructive technique which is introduced in the latest version, which is the ES6 version of the JavaScript. So we have um, advanced object over here. So let me move toward this keyword. So firstly I'm creating a data with const. So we have data, and then I'm assigning some key value pair as we have name, and I'm putting hurry over here, and say we have language. Then I'm creating function as print console.log. Say we have JavaScript over here, and then I'm creating one more function which is print name, then assigning it to our console.log over here, putting it like name. I'm accessing this name, so control C and then paste it down over here. See, if I want to print data dot print, say we have print name, and see it will like give error in the console. See, reference error, name is not defined. So why we encounter by reference error? Because we can't access the property of the method inside the scope directly. We have to use this keyword. So just take, if I replace this by this dot name, this means I'm referring inside an object. So it's find that key name over here, and let me print this thing. So see, like if I try to run now using control enter, it will print hurry. Why it will print hurry? It will print because we have method to print something on a console, and then it's accessing the element which is hurry. So that's how we can use this keyword. And if you are using this keyword, just be familiar how you are going to use. If you are going to create a method, say for example I'm creating in such a way as the arrow function, and then okay, that arrow function which is the new feature of ES6, and then I try to print using this.Name, so it will not print, it will give me an undefined. Why? Because if we are using the arrow identity bind or tie and already define this value in the function itself, so it will like define this value. Why I am giving this error? Because this is because the scope of a variable. If you want to know more about that scope, what is global scope and all these, so I have put a link in the description, you can go and check. So while using the arrow function, don't use this dot name, it will not take the key value. Why? Because that related to something concept of global scope. If the code is snippet and the value of the global object or the object that exists in the global scope which does not directly type, so I can't directly type this using this if we are using the arrow operator. So that's how we are using the arrow operator over here. And then we have something, say privacy. Let's move towards a very good concept of privacy. For example, I'm erasing this out and I want to create my name as Hari over here, and then I'm putting it as a name. You are saying like why you put underscore in the name, so it's the way of specifying that you don't want this to be, this is the internal data, or you can't directly access the data. If you are coming from any other language, you are known about how we define getter and setter in other language. So that's how we are describing over here. Say I want to print the name. We have to print the name using console.log over here. I'm printing the name as data dot we have underscore name. See, we have hurry over here, and say I already described with the const keyword, but say let give us example. I want to change this data, but I already described with the name keyword, so I'm changing with the code me over here, and then run it. See, it will print a code me. I can access or change the data. Why? Because it's already described with the const keyword, doesn't make sense. I can like change the data inside it. When we are describing an object with the const keyword, it means we can't declare or initialize it again and again. So that's const keyword means. Although like defining a value will not change, so how we can like put the privacy of an object, so we can like put the help of getter and setter over here. So let me put it to getter and setter concept. So getter are the method that get and return the internal property of an object. So that means you can only retrieve the data, you can only don't set the data. For example, just forgot this name, so I'm putting one more variable as language, and then putting as JavaScript over here. Okay, it's giving an error just because we haven't followed the rules. So we have say something like I want to put the name as we have some get, and then I want info. So I'm creating one more method over here. So here get info method, what it will do, you can see like we are putting a get means we are getting something. So I'm putting like if we have this dot underscore name, and we have this dot underscore language is not empty, then we have to print console dot log over here. Say I'm printing with the help of interpolation, you can use backticks, which is just below your escape key. So I'm putting dollar sign over here, and we have this dot underscore name. I'm putting name over here in this format, and then we have language, and then again the sign of interpolation, and then opening and closing bracket, we have this dot underscore language, and then we have something called else block. So in the else block I'm printing console dot log over here. We have something, we have say I just printing missing name or language. See, I want to execute using okay, just print it using data dot info. Okay, one more thing, if you are like accessing with the help of this thing, now you won't get the data. For example, here we are putting that method, if you are collecting this one, okay, let me show you, it will throw an error. See, it will throw an error, data is not a function. Okay, so if we are say like I'm escaping this thing and clear it and run it again, see, it will print nothing. If I just print using data dot we have info, in this way it will give an error. See, error, it will print just because I'm using that online ID, but definitely it will give. Okay, like I have to use something to print in the next line, as we have backslash n, and see, it will give error. Why? Because we can't use these things. If you print, it will like won't give an error. See, So here you can see that we are describing a method, but if we are getting or setting something, we are using with the help of method. But when we are using this method, we don't have to provide this flower basis. So that's how you can put getter and setter. For example, if I'm just escaping this language and accessing this field, it will give me an error. See, missing name or language. So why? Because this thing will not present, because I already commented it with using single line command. So that's the thing. I'm just clearing it out and just move toward the setter. Set is something we have putting the name over here as set. So let me put it as set, and then I'm putting it over here as name, and then inside we have underscore name, or we can put underscore new name, and then opening and closing method. So using if, and then we have using type of function as underscore new name, we have equals to a string. If you are following up my videos, you know why type of function will use. Type of function is a inbuilt function which is used to reflect which type of data I'm putting or which type of data I'm comparing. Okay, let me show you with a very quick example. And if block over here, so say why, okay, it's because the id is not updated, I'm using that online. So we have this dot underscore name. Okay, we have this dot underscore name equal to underscore, we have new name over here, and then in the else condition we have say something as console.log, please provide valid name, and then in this block I'm printing console.log over here as data enter success. And then if I'm editing something and printing, say we have data, and that data dot name over here, and then inside the braces, okay, I'm passing something data dot name, and I'm passing as code me, and then try to print. See, data entered successfully. If I pass such thing as 4 or some other, it will give me an error, please provide valid name. So that's a very basic program. So how to create any validation program, which is, say I'm printing code me, and then we'll show you how it's updating. So it's updating, and in the another line I'm printing the name using console.log function. We have data dot underscore name which can access this value. So let me clear the console and try to run it. Say it's printing code me, and then the actual value is Hari. So that's how we can access that data, or we can put a getter and setter method over here, or we can put some kind of privacy over here, and then just move towards one more function which is factory function. So that's very important. We have factory function over here. That factory function, so far we have created a number of methods over here. For example, I just want to create methods of same number. See, let me put, I'm creating we have data equal to, say we have name Hari, and then we have language say I'm using JavaScript over here, and then I'm putting some const, and then we have data1, and then I'm putting the same method which is name. Okay, let me pull it above name. We have name and then put it as code me. Then we have language over here, which is say not the JavaScript, we have say C# over here. And then if I go over here and then printed the value of this thing and this thing, we have to use that two operator. So that's really a very hectic task if you have 50 objects and that you are going to create in such a way. It's really very hectic. So what we are using, we have come up with the new version of ES6, which will gonna use that factory function. So we have a new inbuilt function which is termed as a factory function. So how you can put a factory function, for example, we have data, and then say we have function over here, and then I'm assigning what have its input parameter. Say I want input parameter name, and then we have language, and say I want destination, and that's it. So we are using the arrow function, which is the feature available only in ES6 version, and returning the object and then putting the name as name, comma, language as age, and then we have destination as destination, and then say we have info over here, and then like I'm printing the value of console.log over here, which is say we have dollar, and we have this.Name, and then I'm printing something as objects. So let me run it, like whether I am okay. We are good. So if you run, you won't see anything. So how we can use that factory function? For example, I just want the data to be inserted. So const, we have data equal to data factory, and then we are passing the name as Hari, and then languages as JavaScript, and something as designation as software engineer, and then I'm closing, and then see I'm accessing this data dot, we have info, and see okay, it's data factory is not defined. Okay, so we have okay data function we have defined. Okay, let me put it as data factory, or you can put it as factory function or something like this and try to run. See, it's giving this is like Hari's object, and say if I'm copying this line and then paste it over here and putting the data1 and changes as code me, and if I try to run data1.info, and we have data1.info. So see, it will like this is Hari's object and this is code me object. So that's how you can use that factory function. So we have something like property value shorten function also in the JavaScript, which we have termed as destruction. So how destruction works, so it will be like beneficial. So see here we are using that same value, name, language, and designation. So how we can use, we can simply erase, like put that duplicate thing, and then we can simply maintain this thing, and if you can run, you can see it will print, it won't give any kind of error. So that's how we can use this destruction or property value shorten. This is the short form. Or if someone asks like how we can use destruction function, so you can say it's the new feature of ES6 which were introduced in the factory function as well. So we have something destructive assignment. So how we gonna use, okay, let me like clear the data, and then we have uh, mm, mm, destructive, we have assignment over here, and then like I'm putting some data constant data, and then putting the name over here as, say I'm putting as Hari over here, and then we have say language, which is JavaScript, and then we have something framework, and then I'm declaring this framework with another set of object. If you like that object inside the another object, we can term as a nested object. And then we have backend, say I'm putting in the backend as ASP.NET core, and then we have front end, as we have in the front end we have Angular over here, and then something described as constant. Say I want to access that name, I'm putting as, we have Data.Name, and I'm printing console.log as name. Okay, so if I put okay, we have name over here. See, we are getting the name Hari over here, but it's kind of very unsimilar if you are using the name and name also over here, if that thing is already present. So ES6 come with a very good concept, which is destruction assignment. So I'm erasing this and like putting that object symbol. So if you run this, you can get the data. See, so that's how we can use ES6. We have destruction, we have assignment, and then we have some useful built-in function. So like let me show you what that useful built-in function is. So say okay, just I'm moving some data here and there, so it will be like clear for you. Okay, so we have one set of over here. So say I want only key value, and that put it in some arrays. So how we can access, so we can like simply put with the for in and these kind of loop, but we already have it inbuilt functions. So I'm describing it as const, and then we have data key, and then using the inbuilt function we have object dot keys, and then passing our data, which is this thing inside the this. And let me print this console.log. We have data key over here, and let me clear it and run it. See, you only get this thing, name, language, backend, front end, only key. Say for example I want this pair to store in an array. So how we can do that, So we can also do that in a similar format. So we have one more built-in function, which is I'm declaring one more variable as data entry, and using the inbuilt function we have object dot keys, and then inside the keys we have data, and then I'm printing console.log over here, which is data entries, and see, okay, it's data entries. Okay, I'm putting object dot, okay, not we, I have to put entries now. See, we are getting the entries of name and hurry, language, JavaScript, backend, ASP.NET, frontend, Angular in this format. Say I want have some like another object as const, we have data1, and then putting as we have say as trending, which is machine learning, and then we have feature, which is AI, and say I want to like give the data of both, and I want to like put this object key value pairs in the like above object. So we can use that inbuilt function as new data, and then we have some object dot assign, and then I'm assigning something as data comma we have data1, and then I'm printing console dot log of new data. See, you are getting this thing like trending and future over here. So always remember that whatever we are printing, that object is something like we can access that random data and put it in the random form. So that's how we can like copy this whole data and put it in another object in the value of keys and value pair, that will create a new object. So that's all about advanced object. If you want to know more about some inbuilt function, I'm like in like putting the link of the description, you can go and check out there. So that's it for this video. We'll see you in another video.